Water Star Master oh.
ES Production.
Aluang ay jabog.
Connie on the beat.
Connie. Williamut panun milway panengay to chupang ban jagdol chupak. Williamut paneng milway panengay to chupang ban jagdol chupak. Chupang ban nanamit po kuya nakiyan yalile. Ito na chakay man chupang ban nanamit po kuya nakiyan yalile. Ito na chakay man chupang ban nanamit po kuya nakiyan yalile. Malong alwat magang alwat malong awanan tong ini general tibol ipanda gajangot pani bang malong alwat magang alwat malong awanan tong ini general tibol ipanda gajangot kuya kian yalile kijana chaka yeman madingaw pani kitortin Geran tiago na wi pajal ngi kichiog rod na rod walang gicholnya ujolaweng ka keyo malta ukot ya ke to gurnu wa purudum kwa gulele ko guratin mukallam men jamna yen jang buto ka ke to gurnu wen ko rod chol madin ni jabel Wepani bang malong alwat magang alwat malong awanan kami ni general tibol panda kacangot kapan tek suka ini yuri puja pan kejaria kuadaran pen kejar kubian purtitin cakapin adik kakek kaciur nok wajin zaman benu kucuk burudi Mading kini jabal ngali cek cukuran bikin jaga na yeman mading awul bani jitortin Williamut panun milway panengay to chupang ban jagdol chupak Williamut paneng milway panengay to chupang ban jagdol chupak Chupang ban nanamit po kuya nakiyan yalile Kitana chaka yeman madingaw pani gitortin Wepani bang malong alwat magang alwat malong awanan tong ni general tibol Panda gajangot Wepani bang malong alwat magang alwat malong awanan tong ni general tibol Panda gajangot Kuya nakiyan yalile Kitana chaka yeman madingaw pani gitortin Geran tiago na wi pajal ngi kichiog rod na rod walang gitolnya ujolaweng ka keyo malta ukot ya ke ka urudmu wa burudum kwa kulele ko gratin mukallam men jamda yen jang puto ka ke ka urudmu wen ko rod chol madin ni jabel Wepani bang malong alwat magang alwat malong awanan tong ini general tibol panda kacangot kapan tek suka ini yuri puja pan kejaria kuadaran pen kejar kubian purti.
Okay, guys, thank you. Please start sharing the video for those of you in Clubhouse, Facebook, and YouTube. Please start sharing. So we'll start soon. I have my guest here with me. Thank you, Anai. Thanks for waiting.
Yamut pan wuni loy pan nangi do chu pang ben jak jol chu bak. Yamut pan nangi loy pan nangi do chu pang ben jak jol chu bak. Chu bak ben nan mit po kwe en kian ya le. Kichana cha kay man mading awul pan ni dikortin. Kwe pan yu bang malong alwat pagang alwat malong awanan antong ni general kibol. Panda kacangot, kupani bang malung alwat, magang alwat, malung awanan.
Okay. Thank you guys for tuning in to South Sudan Eagle Media. My name is Abraham Madit. I'm one of the hosts of this media platform, and my guest this evening in African time, this morning in American time, is Honorable Lual Dau. Lual Dau. Thank you so much for accept my invitation to come to my media platform. What we are having today, we will be talk about the roundtable that opposition, South Sudan opposition, come up with. So, and Lual Dau is one of member of that group. So he will be talking mostly about that roundtable. So the show is an interview. I'm not allowed anybody to come up. So the show will be 1 hour. So thank you for this. Now I will give chance to Honorable Lual Dau to introduce himself, and then we start the interview. So welcome, Lual.
Thank you very much, Brother Madid Majak. My name is Lual Dau, Secretary of External Affairs, SSUF.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Brother Lual. This is your first time to be in this South Sudan Eagle Media, live on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter, but you have been in Clubhouse with me last weeks. So my question right now that I want to ask you, Lual Dau, is about, can you explain to South Sudanese, to Junubin, what is South Sudanese, what is roundtable discussion is? What is it? Is it remove the regime, or if it is to bring South Sudanese together?
Thank you, Brother Madid Majak. Honestly speaking, roundtable is not a regime change because we are opposition, and if we want to remove the regime, we can say that. We cannot hide behind roundtable conference. Roundtable conference, it is an overdue, very important meeting that was supposed to really take place long time ago among South Sudanese. Basically, and this is what I have said in your other media form, which is Lake Media, when you guys asked me a very similar question. That when South Sudanese were celebrating the independence of South Sudan in July 9, 2011, a veteran politician from our region, Isaiah Klong, who happened to be from Greater Bahar Ghazal, asked a very important question. After celebration, he asked the politicians who gathered and asked them a simple question. That since what united us all along, since 50s, was our hatred toward Jalaba. And he was asking, since the Jalaba now left, Bashir has taken the flag, he's leaving, he's going to Sudan with it. And we now left as South Sudanese. What will unite us as a people of South Sudan? That was a fundamental question. Unfortunately, the leadership did not answer him. And because that question was not answered, Brother Madid Majak, we rushed to form an independent South Sudan in July 2011. And in less than 3 years, we start killing ourselves. As PLM leadership divided to different camps. And you and I and all of us know exactly what happened in the country. We were all enough, and everyone that is listening. So I will not go there to bore you guys of what happened. But we are here as people of South Sudan once again, try to answer the question of Uncle Isaiah Clark. And what unite us as a people of South Sudan can only find if we all accept to come together and sit as brothers and sisters in a roundtable conference where we come and ask ourselves a very simple questions. What unites us as a people of South Sudan? We ask ourselves a simple questions. What type of South Sudan we want? The South Sudan, millions of people died. The South Sudan, hundreds of thousands of young men and young women left from Bahr Ghazal all the way to Bilfam. Many were killed on their way going to Bilfam. They did not come back. The South Sudan, hundreds of young women and children are still in slavery as we speak in northern Bahr Ghazal. And by that, I mean the northern part of our country. Whether you talk about Will, you talk about ABA, you talk about Twitch, and all those areas, there are so many kids as we speak that are still in slavery. A South Sudan where millions of South Sudanese died because of hunger in Greater Upper Nile, in Equatoria, and in Bahr Ghazal. That is the genesis of the Roundtable Conference. It is a meeting that we need all of us as South Sudanese to come together and answer that question. And by us together, we, the opposition groups, the other opposition group inside the country, those of Dr. Riak, Dr. Lam, SOA, PPP, and others, the government of South Sudan under General Salva Kiir Mayardit, civil society, religious-based organizations, women and youth, and our part of traditional authority, we will all come and sit in a neutral location, going to be outside of the country, where everyone will be free to answer that question. And our message as opposition group, and this is what brought a lot of confusion to a lot of people. We, as opposition group, beginning with the SSUF, NAS, Real SPLM, and the Bagana MOM, and NDM, UDRM, what we were known to be non-signatories. We have invited other opposition groups, and we have formed now those, along with us, those of PCCA, of those of Abraham Awoluch, and Rajab Mohandis, and Kwelagur, and the rest. We all now form what is known to be National Consensus Forum, NCF. And in that forum, we have developed our position as opposition group, what we really want to say in that meeting, in a neutral location, in a roundtable conference. And that is going to be our position, because you cannot go into the meeting without your position. And our position is very clear. We are saying that if we accept ourselves as a people of South Sudan and we want this country to survive, then we have to form a government of a technocrat, which we believe to be somewhere like 11 ministers or so. And that government will be led by a president and a deputy president. It will have a parliament that is no more than 50 MPs, because currently we have 650 MPs and the country cannot afford that. And we can only have to embark on building institutions. So basically we are going to conclude with a new interim period that will work very hard to solve the issues of institutions, not individuals. And that government, Brother Madid, will have a clear mandate. And in our view, and if other people accept it, it will have a mandate of one, making sure that it is going to develop a national and a permanent constitutions that will go through referendum, and the people of South Sudan will accept that constitution or not. That government will have a mandate of building institutions, because as we are in South Sudan now, we have a government that is a government of run by individuals, not institutions. For example, if a minister out of these 11 ministers, in our view, steal money or accused of corruption, then the MPs or the member of parliament have a right to call that member into a hearing to identify whether that person indeed steal money or not. If it is found that he has indeed practiced corruption, the honorable members of parliament can recommend to the president that this minister indeed has involved himself or herself in corruption, and therefore is supposed to go to face justice. And those judiciary system will be there to also carry out a further investigation. And if that minister indeed found out to have stolen money, he belongs to jail. That is the mandate of the government, fighting corruption. The other mandate of that government, in our view, will be to make sure that all the refugees, including South Sudanese who are in the US, South Sudanese who are in Australia, in Canada, in Egypt, Khartoum, Uganda, and elsewhere, are encouraged and resettled back home. Because there are so many people here in the diaspora that are highly educated, highly equipped, but they are not given a chance to participate in the development of South Sudan. And that government of technocrat will be an opportunity for them to participate at all levels of the government. These are South Sudanese who have gained so much education, and they deserve to go home, and they need to resettle back home, because it's not easy to go to South Sudan and settle. That government will work with our citizens who are in IDPs, internally displaced camps, inside Juba, inside Malakal, and Wow. So that these people have been living there for more than 9 years. They are suffering, they are facing a lot of issues. The kids who were born in UNAMIS in 2013 now are almost 9, 10 years old. They don't have home. They don't know home. The only thing they know is UNAMIS. These people deserve to get out and settle. These are what we believe to be what we need to do in our view. What does that mean? It means that the choice leaders who are coming will have their own opinion. They can agree with us. They may have a different opinion. Also, civil society may have their opinion. Other opposition groups that are part of the government of RRCs, those of Dr. Riek Machar of SPLMIO, those of Lama Kol, Jawin, of NDM, those of SAWA, those of PP, other political parties inside the country will come with their proposal. If they agree with us, fine. If they have something else, also it is there for us to discuss as South Sudanese. And also the government will be invited and is coming. Government also have an option, either to accept the government of technocrat or come with something else. But what we are not going to accept, it is the status quo. This current government is not working. It has been in power for more than 3 years now. That if I can tell you now, this government is not delivering service. The situation are really terrible. The ministers are, even they themselves are struggling. How someone who's struggling can deliver service to anybody? So the government will be welcome to present their opinion. So nothing is decided yet. All I am telling you, it is an opinion of the opposition group in which I am part to them. The other South Sudanese also have a right to present their opinion. And in the end, we need to come out with a consensus, with an inclusive agenda, with togetherness, and with a new direction for our country, which is a new South Sudan. That is, in essence, the roundtable that we are calling for as a decision.
Okay, thank you, Lual Dau. Actually, a few years or 2 years ago, South Sudan government did something called national dialogue. Okay, and we know, you and I know, and the rest who are listening know what outcome of the national dialogue. Government didn't agree on some of the issues that the outcome of national dialogue. So the question that I'm asking you, what is the difference between roundtable and the national dialogue that done a few years ago? What would be the difference?
The difference is, first of all, the national dialogue was done by the government alone. Even those of Riek Machar that were part of them in Juba were not even part of it. And that's why we said the national dialogue was a decision of the government. And that's why we did not participate. By the way, the government invited us. And because it was done in Juba, we thought there would be no freedom of expression. And we did not participate. Nevertheless, we support the outcome of national dialogue, in which the outcome came out from those people that were consulted at the village, at Payam, at Boomer level, at county level, at state level, and there was a regional conference that was done in Wow. There was another regional conference that was done in Equatoria that's supposed to be for Equatoria and for Upper Nile. And there was a national dialogue where the outcome of that was that President Kiir and his deputy was defined according to the national dialogue that the leadership failure is what is the problem of South Sudan. And South Sudanese elites have destroyed and messed up the country. And therefore, in a national dialogue, they say that President Kiir and his deputy Riek Machar must exit political scene. That is the national dialogue that was organized by the government, came out with that outcome. What did the government do? They took all those recommendations, put them somewhere in Durich, Juba, and that was the end of it. The roundtable conference is different in a way that now everyone is welcome to participate idea. And the outcome that will come out from the roundtable, as I told you earlier, will be a consensus of South Sudanese. Now, if that consensus is approved, including the government and oppositions and everyone, then I am sure the government will be happy to be part and parcel of implementation. Because now it is a decision that was arrived at after consultation with everyone, including the government, including the regional, our region, including international community, including all the other oppositions. So if we sit and we arrive into a consensus as people of South Sudan, then I'm sure the government will be happy and should be on its interest to join and implement, and we implement that together.
But what if the government is not willing to join you guys on Roundtable?
Yes, that's what I was going to. If the government doesn't want to join us in the Roundtable conference, then we are not going to say, okay, the government is not coming, then we are not going to do the Roundtable conference. The Roundtable conference will still take place. The other sector of South Sudanese will be there. Political groups, women, civil society, religious-based organization, they will be there. And whatever decision that is decided by the Roundtable conference, that decision will have to be implemented. By the way, this is not the first time we have a roundtable in our history. In March 1965, there was a roundtable conference that took place in Sudan, which was organized by those of Uncle William Deng, and South Sudanese veteran politicians participated. And there was a resolution of that roundtable conference. And there was a committee of 12 men that was formed. Brother Madid, if you look to the resolution of the committee of 12 men and the Addis Ababa agreement, you will see that everything came out from that roundtable was implemented in Addis Ababa agreement. So what I'm saying, if the government doesn't implement it, one way or the other, those decisions will be implemented. Because remember, the government is a government of the day. There is no permanent government. Government comes and go. People, us South Sudanese who are alive now, majority of us will be gone within the next 100 years. But South Sudan will be there. And the South Sudanese, if they want to move forward, I am sure Roundtable will be the way forward, and whatever that outcome can be also implemented by the future government.
So,
Also,
go ahead.
Also, it will unite the opposition group, because as we are speaking now, the opposition group are coming together. And the fact that we are coming together into the round table and presenting our views together, it means that if we agree in something and the government is not implementing it, we will become even more united as opposition, we will become more engaged as opposition, and we will become even more stronger. And therefore, we can become a serious and even more threat to the government. And there are a lot of other options, which is Plan B and Plan C and Plan A. All these will follow us.
Can you tell us Plan A, Plan B, Plan C? I mean, if this roundtable is Plan A now, okay, what is our Plan C and B and D? Can you tell us?
Let's talk about Plan A now. Plan A is for us.
And I think this roundtable, I think, is Plan B, because Plan A was Rome peace talk between Soma and government. But now you guys come up with roundtable, which is Plan B. So let's focus with this roundtable plan B. So
No, no,
yeah,
the Rome peace talk really is not plan A. It was part of the peace talk process that started back in Khartoum, that was included in Khartoum, concluded in Khartoum. And the Rome was pursuing to bring everybody together into peace agreement. So that was the status quo. Plan A now, as we speak, is a roundtable conference. Let us focus on plan A.
okay,
But if it doesn't work out, and if the government doesn't come, we have plan B, and we will tell you plan B when the right time comes. We are available. You can get me. You can get Pagana Mom. You can get Jawin. They will tell you plan B at the right time. And if the plan B is not working, plan C will work. And something will work. So one way or the other, our country has to move in the right direction, brother. But this is our mission. It's not something that we are going to let go. This country has to succeed because we have lost so many people, and we are not going to joke about this. It has to work. Something has to work. If A is not working, B is working. If B is not working, C is working, and we are going to finish all the letters. But in the end, we will have the new direction.
okay. So Honorable Lual, seeing you guys announce a roundtable, I have seen in social media people of South Sudan are rejected your idea of roundtable. Citizen, I'm not talking about the government. Citizen, I have seen the percentage supporting roundtable. So why is it you guys, opposition, come up with roundtable are not connected with with South Sudanese people? Why you guys are not connected with people of South Sudan, whether in diaspora or back home? What is it? What are you guys doing wrong that you guys are not connected with the people of South Sudan? Thank you.
No, brother Medid is not is honestly it's not true. It's not people who are rejecting it.
Hmm.
I have done a lot of shows, whether with you guys, with other media outlets, and honestly speaking, the amount of people who support this roundtable, you cannot believe it. I get a lot of messages on my back channels. The problem is that those who really support the roundtable, majority of them are not talking. Those are quick to oppose the roundtable are mainly government supporters in Clubhouse, and few South Sudanese who did not understand exactly what the roundtable is all about. Now, we don't assume that we have the best idea, and whatever idea we have is going to be accepted by all South Sudanese. That's not what we are saying. What we are saying is that this is what we think to help our country. That's what we think to be a way forward. This is what we think to help our country. If there are other groups out there, whether government or government supporters, whether they are other South Sudanese who have a different opinion, don't just reject and say roundtable is not a good option. No. Yes, tell that roundtable is not a good option. But then also you need to follow up and tell us what is the alternative. What is it that you have as a way forward? What is it you have as a solution to the fact that we are all suffering? The country is about to crash. The country is about to disintegrate. What is the way forward? And if the person has no answer for that, then it's not a serious. It's not a serious South Sudanese. It's just someone who opposes. And by the way, opposing is an easy thing. Anyone can oppose anything. And I hope that we South Sudanese don't adopt the culture of just opposing things. Come with solution. If you think the round table is not the best option, tell us. Even the government, that's what we will tell the government. Okay, if the government think the round table is not the best option, then they need to tell us what is the best option. Because the status quo, the current government is not working, Brother Madid. You just went home, you seen it in your own eyes. It's not working. Okay, there is no schools, there's no hospitals, there's no roads, insecurity everywhere. Okay, you know all this stuff. Everyone in this room or in Clubhouse know all this stuff. And we cannot continue to do exactly the same thing and expect different results. If this government continues the way it is, it will continue to sink. So this is not the government. The government is not functioning, is not delivering service. We think that the solution is roundtable conference. But if you don't think roundtable is a solution, then come with something else. But the status quo is unacceptable.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Dau. Actually, yes, these two things, people of South Sudan are suffering, are still suffering, And as we see in 2013, war broke out. Up to now, South Sudan have not been the same. So war is everywhere, hunger is everywhere. So, and we see that, yes, of course, we see that opposition and the government, and we the citizen that seeing you guys, we see that there's no differences between you, opposition, and the government doing different. And the opposition are always the eye of the government. If the government is not doing the right thing, the opposition will step in and say, "Oh, you are not doing the correct things." So this is. If I become a next president, I will do this A, B, C, D. But not what we are seeing in opposition camp. We see opposition are divided. Regardless, they are divided. So you guys are not having one voice. You have a different voice, and this is where even this roundtable. That's why some of us are seeing that okay, we have less than, I believe, less than 1% or 2%. This thing will fail. So my next question is regarding about. I will put this together and then you will answer it. My next question is regarding where will the roundtable take place? How will you guys fund it? Where do you guys get fund from to fund it, this roundtable event? And also, can you add on, is it international community are supporting you guys? So I want you to explain more about this. I put 3 or 4 questions at one because we got less than 20 minutes. So can you explain to us, to South Sudanese, how will you, because roundtable discussion, these things are big issues, and it need money. It need where because I know that you guys are in different country outside, and also too. And the fourth question is, who's the leader? Who's your leader? So those are the 4 or 5 questions I put at one. So go ahead and explain those. Thank you.
Yes, all the 4 questions are legitimate in regards to the funding, location of the roundtable conference, whether the international community are going to be there, and the leadership. First, in terms of location, we don't have a location as of yet, but we have criteria for the location. We have that in mind. Number 1, is not going to be in South Sudan. It has to be outside, preferably a country that has no interest, has no interest, because remember, all these regional countries have interests in South Sudan, and that's why they are not really helping us. So we want a neutral country where all of us, opposition groups, civil society, government, will feel comfortable and safe. That is number one. Number two, in regard to the funding, that was the reason actually we went to Rome last month as opposition group. And we met with the Goodwill organization that have promised to fund the Roundtable Conference. And hopefully those groups will be there to fund it. It's not going to be funded by South Sudanese money. I hear people in Clubhouse saying this roundtable is going to be funded by South Sudanese money. No, this is going to be funded by by NGOs, by the Goodwill people who are willing to help us. That is the funding source. And in fact, they are going to pay for everything: accommodation, tickets for us, for the government delegation, for people who are coming from South Sudan, for people who are coming from exile. All this will be taken care of. In regard into whether the international community are behind this, again, last month we met with Troika, which is US, the United States of America. We met with the UK, we met with Norway, and we have told them about the new political dispensation in the country. They were happy about, they welcomed the idea. And hopefully they are going to be part of that, because we want Troika to be part and parcel of the Roundtable Conference. So they are going to be there, the international community. And also the region, IGAD, African Union, and the neighbor countries are going to be there. They are not there to push any of us, but they are there as observers. They are there as people who want South Sudanese to come together. In regards to who is the leader of opposition under that National Consensus Forum, all of us now, we came under that umbrella. And what we have developed is a program, an agreed program for the opposition. And that's very important, because what is important is not who is the leader. What is important is what are we going to say as opposition. And we are developing that. And when we go there into Roundtable Conference, we are going to sit as one of groups as opposition. The government will be there, other opposition will be there, the women will be there, church-based organization and so forth. We are going to sit in a round table in which there is no leader. We are all sons and daughters of South Sudan. We are all brothers and sisters. We sit with respect and we find solutions. Those issues of leadership, who will lead opposition going forward, are part of Plan B. If Plan A fails, you will see now opposition talking about the leadership. You will see opposition talking about what they need to do to make sure that the new dispensation takes place in the country. But as of now, the national dialogue is all about inclusivity, is all about togetherness, is all about bringing South Sudanese together, is all about consensus.
Yeah, let me focus a little bit more about the leadership. You know, there is no any organization or any party or any other event, even community leadership, cannot be founded without the chairman. So, and this is what I see in opposition, because before we talk about opposition are not united. And this is where it comes from here. Because if you guys are not united, that means everybody, because 6 or 7 or 10 of you opposition have a different party, have their own chairperson or commander-in-chief, those who have army. So, and then same thing is going to a roundtable. So the roundtable will go, is open to everybody, no leadership. I see General Pagana Mom is a spokesperson, but there's no chairman. So if the government, President Salva Kiir send his delegation to the roundtable, they will ask you, okay, so you guys call the roundtable, who's your chairman? So the president, the government cannot talk to who? To all you opposition. We have to have a chairman there to face the government, to present all of you. But if everybody, all opposition, if I hear it right, more than 20 or 30, or more than opposition, different party, and they're outside, and they are going to roundtable, and everybody is a chairman of his own party, that means there's no unification of opposition party. And that's where the roundtable will not succeed. Because if you mentioned before that opposition are united, they are about united. And we see some of the voices of opposition are left out from roundtable. So why some of these opposition, they are really having concern, says this roundtable, we are not part of it, and we don't know about it. So why you guys left out other opposition party? And also at the same time, you said that you are going to roundtable and you don't have a leadership representing you. Even this international community, when they come in, like United States, Norway, or in others came to support you, what you are doing, they will ask who's your chairman. And this is what I see for the Rome. When Osoma went to Rome, Soma went at the end, Soma 1 and divided into 2. Soma 1, Soma 2. You see? So government come negotiate with the Soma 1 and then also go and negotiate with Soma 2. And that's I see is coming to roundtable. So thank you. Can you go ahead and explain more about this? Because this is the challenging to opposition.
No, it is a challenge, Brother Madid, I understand. You know, Junubin are coming with the background that when we were all fighting the Jalaba, we used to have one movement, which is SPLA, under the leadership of John Garang. And everyone, even those who left the movement, ended up coming back to the same movement. So we have one thing. That's what happened when people are united, because we were united. And that's what Uncle Isaiah Clone was saying, that we were united behind John Garang, behind SPLA, because of our hatred and the suffering and the marginalization that we were subjected to by the Khartoum regime. Now, nothing unites us, not only as South Sudanese in the government and the people of South Sudan, but also in opposition. That's why you will find so many opposition groups. And what we have decided to do, because the unity we are trying to forge now is a unity of purpose. What is it that each opposition wants? The opposition wants stability. We want peace. We want to make sure that there's development in our country. That's why we came together under what is known to be National Consensus Forum. So, in a way, the opposition agree on the program, the minimum program that we need to achieve. We are going to have a national consensus statement that will be shared with everyone. And when we go to the room, or we will go like to meet with the international community, or when we go for the roundtable conference, wherever it will take place, we will have one common position by the opposition that will be presented. But at that time, we'll have what is known to be leadership, the opposition leadership. That's what we have now, where all these chairman and commander-in-chief, they come together under one leader, under their leadership. And when we go there, we will have someone among all this group to present our document. It's not all this opposition group will be talking, because opposition is working now to develop one common document. And that document will be presented, maybe SG Pagana Mom can present it, or General Paul Malong can present it, or General Thomas can present it, or any our leaders can present that. Finally, the government is aware. We met them several times in Rome. And the challenge that we are not reaching agreement with the government is not because of issue of leadership, who is our leader now. The challenge is that the government really wants to give us positions, but we are asking for reform of the system, reform of economy, a new government that is based on federalism, and a lot of other things that we are asking for. That's why we are stuck. It's
So
not
what,
the issue.
and what position government is trying to offer to you guys? Is another number 6 vice president?
No, the government is quick to present anything. It's not only 6. They can present even 3, 4 vice presidents for them. It's not a big deal. But for us, we are not interested. We feel like too many vice presidents. You know, if you go to Juba now, there is every minute you will see you know, a vice president. Who is that? Another vice president, another vice president. So we have too many vice presidents. That's why we are calling in the government of technocrat that there will be one vice president, you know, and only one president and 11 ministers. So you can see from our proposal that not only we are not interested in position, in fact, we are even not going to be part of the government, to be frank with you. We are not technocrat, okay? We are going to be involved in registering our political parties. We are going to be involved in political organizations, and we are going to do other things, but not part of the government. So we don't really care so much about government. You know, it's not a priority to us because we, at some point, most of us can be in the government if you want it. You know, what is important is to have a country. Position are nothing that important. You don't have to be a minister. We don't have to be there. But eventually, some of us can get position. In fact, some of us were senior government officials before we left the government. Some of us have resigned from the government. So it's not something important.
And this is why, and this is the reason why a lot of people they have concern, saying that, okay, some of you were before a part of this government, and when we were in the system, you didn't do anything right away, but after you left, some of you come up and said, okay, the government is going to do the right thing, we will come in to fix it. But when you were inside the system, you didn't do anything to fix the system. And this is where people are coming up and say, okay, the opposition, the only thing they want, they are seeking for the position to go back to the government. That's what they are seeking for. And then you see what happened in IO. IO, when they get back into the government, first Vice President Dr. Yang Machar with his team, they forget the rest of people who were with them in the bush. You see, these people now are left out. And this is what you see, what is going up at night. Kid Guang. So it's break away from the IO. So, and this is why people are very concerned and questioning you guys. Say, yeah, you guys were in the system. When you're out of system, okay, you want to find yourself, you find the way how you get back into the system. When you get there, you forgot the people who were standing with you. And you are not working doing the well-being of the citizen of South Sudan, the change that the people of South Sudan need. So we running out of time. So my last question that we could end up our interview, and I will bring you back again next time to discuss more when you guys find out where will the roundtable take place, and if the roundtable is failed, what is your plan C, B, D, and E? My last question, which we can wrap up this interview, is your chairman, General Paul Malong. As you part of that, in opposition, in your colleague in the opposition camp, some of opposition are accusing General Paul Malong is still in the government of South Sudan. It's not. They will not see General Paul as opposition enough. That's the argument I see in social media. And also accusation I'm hearing too. General Paul Malong is still in payroll, in the government payroll. He is still receiving funds from the government. So can you clarify about this? Is it true, this argument, this accusation coming from your camp, your opposition camp, accusing your chairman? Number one, he's a part of the government, he's staying in the government. Number two, he's staying in payroll, he's receiving the fund, money from the government. All of these are threats. Can you clarify? And number three, why can General Paul come to public, to social media, to talk to us as my media platform, Lake State Media Platform, to talk about? Because we see General Pagan in social media, we see General Thomas Shrilo is in social media, and Emmanuel Jawan, they are there. But General Paul is not. So all of these accusations, can you tell us why your colleagues are accusing your chairman? Thank you.
Honestly, these accusations are not coming from the leadership of opposition. I hear them, but they are coming from a frustrated citizen of South Sudan. And those people are frustrated, and whether they are in opposition or they are in the government, they are frustrated citizens. But what I can tell you, first of all, General Malong is in media through me. I am here, and many other members of SSUF. And also, last time when we launched the roundtable, he was there with those of General Thomas Shrilo and General Pagana Mom, and all the leaders were there. So he come to media from time to time. He's not here most of the time. But the idea that General Malong is in government payroll is just another ridiculous idea. It's not true. The government is not even paying the people who are working for him. When you went to South Sudan, you see the government is not paying teachers. The government is not paying soldiers. The government is not paying anybody working for them, leave alone. I have a cousin of mine who is a professor at Juba University. He has gone for 11 months now without pay. I have a friend of mine who is in the embassy working as a diplomat. He has gone for more than 24 months without pay. So if the government is not paying its civil servant, what makes you believe that the government will pay General Malong? In short, it is not true. What is there, with the frustration we are in as people of South Sudan, most of Junubin, they have reached a conclusion that a majority of opposition members, they tend to be South Sudanese who happen to be non-Denka. And majority of people who are running the government in Juba happen to be members of Denka community. So some people think that the right place for a senior Denka government official should be the government. So when they say that this guy left the government and is a Dinka, people don't take it seriously. They think, no, this is not true. That's what they just assume. But it is true, General Malong is an opposition. He has been opposing the government for more than 5 years now. And if he's not opposition, I'm sure he would have gone back to Juba and go back home and be with his people. This is the first time, by the way, for General Malong to be outside of the country that long. Even those of the days of struggle, you rarely find him in Nairobi, in Uganda, in those places. You know that Medeti were in the SPLM. He was always in the front line. He was always home, you know. So these are just propaganda. They are not true. We are opposition. And the most important thing, we don't need endorsement from anybody. We don't need an opposition to say that Lual is opposition in order for me to function. No. Or to say that Peter Biara Jag is opposition, or to say that Abraham Olij is opposition. We don't need mandate from anybody. We just need to be opposition and lay out what we need to say. And honestly speaking, you have mentioned earlier that some people are also saying that one of the reasons is that we were part of the government, and the fact that we are calling for roundtable is the way to check ourselves in the government. And people think that because we were part of the government, they are blaming us. You know, Brother Madi, that's another mistake. And a lot of people who are quick to do that, you know, unfortunately, are the government supporters. Government supporters are quick to oppose us, that X and X was part of the government and it didn't do anything. But the same people are supporting the government that is not doing anything. Okay, they are supporting our colleagues who were with them and us. We were not doing anything, and they continue to do nothing as we speak. And the same people, they don't oppose that. They don't even see that. They think it's okay for the government to sit and do nothing, but it's a problem for someone who used to be part of the government and left the government, and to say the government is doing something wrong. Don't you think there is a double standard there? You know. But let me tell you, most of us in opposition have jobs when we left. SG Pagana Mom, until as we speak, he still remains to be an elected secretary of the SPLM. Last month, the Political Bureau recommended his name to be removed from the Secretary General, and that letter will go to SPLM National Liberation, and it will go into the National Convention. And the convention will remove him eventually if it doesn't go. But if Pagan now is seeking position, and he was actually given 45 days for him to respond. If he reach out now and inform the government, hey, wait, I am coming, he can go back as Secretary General because he was an elected Secretary General. Okay, that is one. Two, General Thomas Chirilo, when he left, he was a deputy chief of staff, and he resigned. You know, he was not fired. Ajawin, when he left, he was also an ambassador. Myself, when I left the government, I was a deputy governor. I resigned. So the idea that we are looking for a position is not true. It's just a propaganda. And if we need positions, we don't need to hold a round table conference in order to get position. We can always we can reach agreement with the government in Rome, and we can go back to South Sudan through that and become part of the government. Thank you.
Thank you. So we come to an end. So I have 5 minutes left. So this 5 minutes I will give 2 minutes to only one question in Clubhouse. Comrade Mayol, he said that he wants to say something to you. I will give you 2 to 3 minutes, Comrade Mayol, to go ahead to ask what you want to ask to Honorable Lual Dau. Comrade Mayol, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead. Yes. Go ahead.
Well, thank you very much, Comrade Madid, and thank you, Honorable Lual Dau, for your speech once more again in regarding to the issue of Roundtable. And yes, you speak very good today about Roundtable, but yet I still go back to my question from last week when I told you that is this Roundtable a proposal? And it seemed to be a contradicted itself, as Roundtable is not a proposal. It is something that designs. Today you come up with a good explanation, and you conclude that Roundtable will actually conclude with a technocrat government, in which you did not explain, because you said in your speech that a technocrat government will be formed by none other than your group. You did not specify who are those who will be going for the technocrat government. That's number one. Number two, if the government rejected not to be part of what is so-called Roundtable, what will be the plan B or plan C or plan D, a way forward in another way? What will be the way forward if the government rejected? And if the way forward is that you're going to do it, whether the government rejected or not rejected, so then the outcome, it will be likely that the outcome of the national dialogues. Then if that national dialogues has outcome, a resolution, and the resolution did not work until now, as you, what will be the outcome? What will be your assessment after the Roundtable? How are you going to do? How are you going to submit your proposal? And what are the mechanisms? Do you have any support from outside trying to impose what the outcome of the Roundtable? Or just are you suggesting that this Roundtable would just work simply because you will go for the Roundtable, you will have a resolution, and then you will remove President Kiir from the power? That is my second comment. You can look at it as a question or as a comment. The other thing I wanted to represent the voice of those people who you think that they're supporting the government. Let me tell you clearly that I am your friend, I am your colleagues, but I completely disagree with the opposition called non-signatories, and I am supporting, if there is election today, I will vote for President Kiir. Because one thing will let me vote for President Kiir, during the time that you all were in the government, if we talk about Kiir, that Kiir is doing this, Kiir is doing this, General Malong will even arrest people and abuse people, you know? General Malong seemed to be the best person in the eyes of Kiir. Now when he's out, he wanted simple people to change, divert the views, and then maybe that is a good time for us now for people to just change and change and change. So this time, Comrade Honorable Lual Dau, it is not an easy time. You know, people cannot be changed just simply because there is a new strategy that does not work with the citizens. We know the government of South Sudan has done a lot of things and failed a lot of things. We know that. But there are reasons why the government is not working in a way that people want it. One reason is that we signed peace agreement in Machakos while the militias were waiting for us to disrupt that peace agreement. And thus South Sudan went on to destroy that plan of the militias to take over, and that has caused a lot of problem to the party. And then here we go. We have a war with a glitch war with the North, and then before that, finishing the war, we have another war of 2013. So there are a lot of challenges that have actually stopped the progress of the government. We know that. I request for us, all of us, I request to us, if we are a nationalist, I will agree with you one thing. If we are a nationalist, we should not accept all these positions, such as vice president. A nationalist should not sign peace because they need position. And we have to act a positive way. We have to act to become a citizen, a good citizen in this country, so that we can move the country ahead and we can contribute with a different capacity. That is my comment, and thank you for the time.
Thank you, Comrade Mayol. All right, Honorable Dau, go ahead and answer him.
Yeah. Thank you, Honorable Mayol. Glad to hear from you again in a while. Indeed, we were colleagues in the government, and I'm happy that you are here listening wherever you are. Your three questions are very legitimate questions. First one is, who are the technocrats? The technocrats are South Sudanese who are, first of all, are educated, specialized in certain area. Secondly, are not members of any political party or any opposition groups that are professional. So you might have South Sudanese who are working with UN, South Sudanese who are working with World Bank, South Sudanese who are working with regional organizations. There are South Sudanese who are working with NGOs. There are South Sudanese who are working with the government as civil servants. Those are South Sudanese technocrats. Those are the people that we need to run the government, not politicians. And they are there. There are plenty of them. After all, we only need 11 to be ministers. So in our proposal, so they are there. In regarding to if the government reject, what are your plan C and what are plan B and plan C? I told that question was asked also by Brother Madid, and we agree. Then let us focus now on plan A. Let us be on the moment, and when time comes, we will talk about plan B, and when time comes, we'll talk about plan C. So this is not the time for plan B yet. You said that you are going to vote for President Kiir. Honestly, that is your right. And for me, if there are elections taking place in South Sudan, and it is fair election, and President Kiir won as elected president, it is his right. President Kiir is a South Sudanese. We don't see anything wrong with you voting for President Kiir. This is something good. And I'm sure there's other South Sudanese also will be voting for him. But Roundtable is not here to remove President Kiir or remove Vice President Riek or remove anybody. But the Roundtable is here to bring South Sudanese together and establish a government of technocrat and hybrid. So that is our goal. We are not rejecting anybody. They are all welcome, and we look forward to meet with the government, invite them officially, and hopefully they will join, and hopefully they will accept the outcome and the resolution of the Roundtable Conference, and hopefully there will be a new political dispensation in our country. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Dau. Actually, I have one more question, so that and then after this question, then we will let you go. The next question is coming from Sister Alena. Alena, go ahead and put in your question.
Thank you, Comrade. Comrade Medit, Comrade Mayol, General. Yeah, my question.
Thank you. Go ahead, Alan.
Thank you, Comrade Dau. My question is about those people that you said is a non-political party, not opposition. what is the reason why do you guys elected them? Is because are educated, or because those people are non-political personality, or maybe are not one of the government used to serve the government? What was the reason why you guys elected those people?
Okay, thank you. Honorable Dau, if you get her question, you can go ahead.
No, I got it. I got a question. Thank you, Madam Helena. If I understood you correctly, you are asking why are we really looking for technocrats and not the what is the reason, right? That's the reason. I think that's a question, right? Why do we need technocrats?
Yes, it's because of their educated people. Why? That's the reason why you guys elected them.
Yeah, that's true. No, it's not the issue of education. Honestly, the current government of South Sudan has a lot of highly educated people. If you talk about those of Michael McQuay, those of Lomoro, those of Riek Machar, those of many others, they are highly educated South Sudanese, including President Kiir is a general, is someone who fought 2 wars, and I'm sure the time he spent fighting for Anyanya 1 and the SPLM, if he was going to school, I'm sure he would have also have a PhD. It's a matter of education. That's not the issue. The issue that we are calling for the government of technocrat is that, when the agreement was signed in Khartoum, the end game of the agreement was that at the end people will go for election. And the same parties that are parties to the agreement are the people who are going for the election. That creates conflict of interest. Everyone working against the other one. You have seen government is taking people from SPLMIO, people leaving the Toriak, joining the government and all this. And they did not implement the agreement because they don't want, some people don't want to go for election. Some people are really want to fit the election into their own way they can win. But if you bring technocrat, first of all, the condition number one is that if you accept to be part of the government of that technocrat, you are not allowed to run for the election, especially the immediate election. You have to run after that election, which means their job is to run the government, run the election, and leave. So someone like that has no conflict of interest. But if you bring the same person that is the one running the government, is the one setting laws for the election, and is the same person that is running for the election, that's why you see the fighting. So we want people who are neutral. We want people who are who have no such a mandate of running the election. And by the way, even where you live in America, the election are not run by the government, are run by citizens, by individual group, by people who have no conflict of interest, are the people who run the election. So basically, what we are trying to do is what have been done in many countries, that if you want a credible election, let it be run by people who are not politicians. Let it be run by the citizens themselves. And that's why we want technocrats, those who are not politicians, those who are not going to run for election, to run the interim period for us and make sure that we will have consensus, we will have togetherness. And finally, we will have a fair and credible election in which whoever is elected will be elected president for all of us. And nobody should be opposing that person because it came through a credible election. Thank you.
Thank you, Roundtable Dau, and also too, we come to close, guys. I apologize for those of you who are sending me messages that want to come up. So the interview is just only 1 hour. So I think we didn't go further 20 minutes of our time. So at this time, I would like to say thank you so much, Brother Lual Dau, and also Sister Comrade Madam Allen, and Brother Comrade Mayol for coming in. So, and all of you who are watching in Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and also you guys down there in Clubhouse listening in, thank you so much. And I will end the show here. Thanks so much for coming in. For this time, Lual, I will give you your last word to put it in, and then I will let you go. Thank you.
Well, my last word will be very brief. First of all, I want to thank you, Brother Majak, and all the people who are listening. And I want to invite also Sudanese, whether you are in government or you are in opposition, please let us join. Let us accept ourselves as brothers and sisters. We need to sit and solve our problems. Let us help our people. Let us help our country. And may God continue to bless all of us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brother Lual Dau. Have a wonderful day. And I hope we are approaching to the weekend. See you again next time. Thank you, guys. Have a wonderful day, guys. All right, thank you, Alan. Thank you so much, guys.
Tony on the beat.
Look at you, Alan. No, I'm closed down the room. So, yeah.
Are you closing the room?
Aye. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you. Have a good day.
Wepani bang malong alwat magang alwat malong awanan nantong ni general tibol panda kacangwat. Wepani bang malong alwat magang alwat malong awanan nantong ni general tibol panda kacangwat. Weyene kianya lele kijana chaka yeman madingaw pani kitorkin. Geran Diago, now we began Niki, road and now road to Walang the Chalnya, with your lawing, Kakeo, Malta, Kokot, Yakeko, Wapurum, Wapulo, Cobratin, Mukalam, many young in young Puto, Kakeko, we in a go to Chalmadik in Major Bell. Wepani bang malong alwat magang alwat malong awanan nantong ni general kingkol panda kacangnyot kapan teksu kayin yuri puja pen kejaria kuadaran pen lui kejar kubian purtitin cakaping adik kake kaciur nok wajin zaman benu kucuk guru